Good evening. I have a brief presentation I would like to share with the YouTube audience. Um, it just dawned on me today to revisit this topic, and I call this Adidas. All day I dream about sex. This is my disclaimer. The use of copyrighted material within this presentation is for entertainment purposes only. This presentation is not an attempt to encourage or discourage the use of Adidas products, nor is it an attack on Adidas. Personally, I like Adidas products, so this is not to be thought of or believed as an attack on Adidas. This presentation is not an attempt to offend or dissuade anyone's religious beliefs, sexual preferences, diet concerns, or any other personal preferences. We work out to eventually appear sexy in the nude, right? And we want to feel good about ourselves. This is why we work out. And here, you see this young lady. She's wearing this nice Adidas outfit, so she can work out and stay trim and fit, and it has enhance her longevity. The trefoil is a three-leaf emblem, as you see on this Adidas wear here. It is also an emblem of interlacing or interlocking circles. Here's another trefoil, right, of interlocking circles. Now, the two interlocking circles of the trefoil reveals the gateway of life. Here's a better depiction of the gateway of life. Now, notice the leaf shape of the Virgin Mary. This is a Christian Piscean symbol. What you see there is actually something called a yoni, according to Hindu terminology. A yoni, which is the woman's female private parts. Here is the yoni. This is Christian symbolism, right? Christian Piscean symbolism. Thus, you see the fish, right? And the woman's private parts are normally thought of as having a fishy odor, right? And the symbolism here is rather profound, in my opinion. Her legs form the letter M for mother, and thus, when the woman's water breaks, she gives birth, thus to be born of water. Now, the letter M in this Hebrew term mayim means waters in the Hebrew language. Now, by adding the Hebrew shin, and the letter shin is also called sin, depending on the usage. The Hebrew shin or sin, by adding that letter, you can to mayim, you can come up with the term shemayim, and shemayim esoterically means celestial waters or waters in the heavens, which is ancient Egyptian philosophy, by the way. Now, Shin and the trefoil and the letter W all resemble, but the letter W is comprised of two V's. Shin is connected by three Vavs, which is the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, or the Aleph Beit, translated as V or U. Thus, Shin may represent 666, signifying the beast of the water, right? Shemayim, beast of the water. Or celestial waters. Take your pick. Very deep symbolism here, very profound symbolism by the mystics. They were truly connected with the Most High. Beast of the water, right? Now, I don't recall who makes these products. I think it might be Coca Cola. I'm not sure, but notice the three valves, right? And which is 666, and it's called the Beast of the Water. This new beverage is contains about 6% alcohol, and the Monster, which is a beast, is water, right? A workout beverage for those of us that like to work out. I think it's high in caffeine. Have to be careful with these drinks. Now, I'm not attacking Coca Cola or whoever makes these products. It's just I find it interesting that something that's hidden in plain sight, and it just dawned on me concerning these products. So this is not an attack. It's just to reveal how the cosmos or the Most High speaks to us. Notice the other Adidas emblem. Uh, it consists of three valves, in my opinion, which is 666. And there's also a hidden symbol of a mountain, if as you look closely at it, and it may represents the pyramid or the all-seeing eye as well. This is what resonates with me. Now, you may feel that I'm being a little, I'm reaching a little bit, right? But I don't think so. I see a mountain there as well, uh, and it has a feel of something sinking in water as well, like the Titanic is being sunk. But that could be another uh, episode. All day I dream about sex. Are these three vibes in your opinion? They are three vibes in my opinion. And there's also a mountain which represents the all-seeing eye, right? The mountain that is found, or the pyramid, excuse me, that is found on the dollar bill. I find this very interesting. Uh, all day I dream about sex, right? No money, no honey. Let me further this. Uh, Now I am revealing a particular scripture in Genesis chapter 3, verse 7. It says, "And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons." Why did they do this? Well, according to the allegory, in my view, the Garden of Eden narrative is an allegory, a very profound, deeply mystical allegory. They sewn fig leaves together because they had eaten or had ate of the forbidden fruit. And what is actually the forbidden fruit? I think it's obvious. I think the title itself is telling us what the forbidden fruit is. Now, according to the Bible, the children of Israel were in Egyptian bondage, and accordingly, the system of Isis, which the children of Israel should have known about, right? Being in Egyptian bondage, according to the Bible, for hundreds of years, they should at least have known about this system. Now, according to ancient faiths embodied in ancient times, the title of this book by Thomas Eamon rather, from 1820 to 1876, I believe that's his tenure in life. On page 108, it says this: "To the physiologist familiar with the human body, it seems clear that the sistrum of Isis and its handle, the fig and the stem, represent what is technically called the uterus and the vagina in a virgin state." Okay? Remember, after Adam and Eve had eaten of the forbidden fruit, they sewn fig leaves together. Notice the symbolism here. Adam and Eve were virgins, right? Until they had carnal knowledge of good and evil. The key word is knowledge, but as you search the scriptures, you'll find out that they became carnal minded. And how did they become carnal minded? Right? Because they had eaten of the forbidden fruit, which is what? What is this forbidden fruit? Definition of carnal knowledge according to Wikipedia, and you don't have to trust Wikipedia, but you can always look up the term carnal knowledge. Carnal knowledge is an archaic or legal euphemism for sexual intercourse. So in my view, Adam and Eve had sex, and that was the forbidden fruit, symbolized by what? The fig leaves, and the fruit is the fig. They had eaten of the fig, is what the author or the mystic writer was alluding and hinting to. Genesis chapter 4, verse 1 says, and Adam knew, right, Eve, his wife, and she conceived. Notice these two terms. To know, he knew, which is in the mind, and conceive or have a conception of thoughts in the mind, representing knowledge, knowing. But these two terms, knew and conceive, represents carnal knowledge, right? Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain. And thus, this scripture tells us what is meant by the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? And the fruit thereof is the fig. And the knowledge is what? Carnal knowledge. Now, it's not the fall of man, it's the fall of man with a PH. And what am I alluding to here? The definition of fall with the PH, a prefix meaning penis. The Greek proper term is phallus. So what else am I alluding to? Let's look at the serpent and symbolism. A symbol of great power indicating change, renewal, and transformation, right? The serpent is a potent archetype of psychic energy. The Ouroboros, the snake which forms a circle by biting its own tail, symbolizes the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Notice the pendant to the upper right corner. You see Ouroboros, serpent biting its tail, intertwined with the trefoil, right? The three circles that are connecting, which is basically one circle. But let's continue. In its carnal aspect, the snake represents a phallus or a penis, and its association of the life force, sexuality, and sensuality. The serpent of the Garden of Eden, in my opinion, represents man's beastly nature. In my opinion, the serpent, Adam, and Eve are all one and the same. The Garden of Eden narrative is an allegory about man and our beastly nature. The serpent of the Garden of Eden represents man's beastly nature, which was the catalyst that caused Adam to know Eve, his wife, right? Metaphorically called sin. And in sin did my mother conceive me, right? I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin was I brought into the world. But sin is a metaphor for sex. Let's not get this twisted. The preachers got us thinking one way when the scriptures are actually saying something else. I was shapen in iniquity and conceived in sin. Conception, the mind. What? All day I dream about sex. Right? So it's not evil, per se. It's evil if you're having sex with somebody else's wife or husband. I think that's evil. I found it evil if somebody has sex with my wife or girlfriend. That's evil. Because I would certainly be upset if my wife or my girlfriend cheat on me. Then that's grounds for divorce. It's grounds for me to look for another woman. So it's the knowledge of good and evil, right? The knowledge of good it was the serpent that catalyzed the consumption of the forbidden fruit. Scripture says, for by one man's sin entered into the world, right? Sex was started by somebody. Sex was started by Adam. But it's an allegory. We're dealing with an allegory. Adidas. All day I dream about sex. We work out to eventually appear sexy in the nude, just like Adam and Eve, the so-called first man.